Today, we're going to reconstruct the final, absolutely chilling days of Gaurav Tiwari, who was India's most famous paranormal investigator. This is the story of his very last case, and it just might hold the key to his own unsolved death.
So, picture this. It's July 7th, 2016. The man who literally spent his life chasing shadows is found dead in his own home. But to really understand how this could have happened, we've got to rewind the clock just one night.
To get why his death is such a baffling mystery, you first have to understand his life's work. See, Gaurav Tiwari wasn't just some amateur ghost hunter. He founded the Indian Paranormal Society and had over 6,000 investigations under his belt. He was known for his scientific mind, always trying to rule out logical causes before ever even considering the paranormal. So you have to ask, what could possibly happen to a man with that level of experience?
Yeah, that is the question at the very heart of this story. We're going to break down his final case, look at the evidence, and sift through the conflicting theories that have turned this into one of the most haunting mysteries in modern paranormal history.
To really unravel this, we have to start with the man himself, because there's this deep contradiction between who he was and how he died.
There are really two sides to this story, right? On one hand, you've got the expert, the guy who always looked for a logical explanation first. But on the other hand, you have the victim, found dead in a way that just defies explanation immediately after the most intense case of his entire career.
So let's go back. Let's go to the beginning of the end, the final case. It all starts with a phone call from a terrified family in Janakpuri, Delhi. They said their young daughter was showing some really terrifying behavior.
Now, here's where things take a really crucial turn. Gaurav's team was actually supposed to handle this one. He wasn't well, he was reportedly suffering from depression and just not feeling good. But when he heard just how severe the girl's situation was, he made a fateful call. He had to lead this investigation himself. This quote, he said this to a team member right before they left. It is absolutely chilling. It shows us a man who was already in a really fragile state, feeling like he was fighting some kind of internal battle. He was walking into a dangerous situation already feeling like he was losing a war inside himself.
So, Gaurav and his team get to the apartment. The girl had apparently been screaming so violently that neighbors were coming out of their homes to see what was going on. But the second Gaurav stepped inside, everything changed.
An eerie quiet just falls over the entire apartment. The girl stops screaming, she turns to Gaurav, and she smiles. Her father was floored. He said he hadn't seen her calm, let alone smile, in ages. It was almost as if she, or whatever was with her, had been waiting for him specifically. And from that moment on, the activity just escalated fast. The team sets up their gear, and the readings are just off the charts. EMF meters going completely wild. And then, something happened that his team had never seen before in all their years. Every single camera they had placed around the house started flashing at the exact same time. And when they reviewed the footage, they saw it. A dark, demonic shape, just looking out from behind a wall.
As Gaurav went into the girl's room to confront whatever this was, things got even weirder. When she spoke, the voice didn't sound like it was coming from her at all. His team said it sounded like it was coming from right behind Gaurav himself, like something was clinging to him, whispering right in his ear.
And her first words to him weren't a threat, they weren't a scream, it was just this simple, chilling statement of recognition. You've come. Like this wasn't an introduction, it was a reunion.
And then came the line that is at the absolute center of this whole mystery. She, or the voice, told him that every evil thing in that house knew him by name, that he carries them with him, and that tonight he would be taking another one home.
So hearing this, a team member bursts into the room, and what they saw was shocking. It wasn't the girl that scared them, it was Gaurav. This veteran of over 6,000 cases was just standing there, frozen, completely still, with a look of pure fear on his face. This was a guy they had never, ever seen scared before, not once.
So, what did the entity mean when it said he would take one more? Well, to understand that, we have to look at Gaurav's unique and incredibly dangerous method for closing out a case.
This is how he ended his investigations. It was his signature move. He would literally command any and all entities present to leave the people and the place alone, and to follow him instead. He was, in effect, making himself a vessel, inviting these spirits into his own life to save others. When he finally got home, around 1:30 in the morning, he was deeply disturbed. He told his wife that the curses were back, that he was seeing black shadows everywhere, and he could hear them laughing at him. It really seems like this time he invited something home that he just couldn't control.
Which brings us right back to the morning of July 7th, and that discovery in his bathroom. With Gaurav gone, all we have left are these competing theories, and a truth that feels like it may have died right there with him.
I mean, just look at how tightly packed these events are. The evening of July 6th, he has this absolutely harrowing encounter. Just a few hours later, he gets home totally tormented, and by the next morning, he's gone. The timing, the closeness of the investigation to his death, it's just, you can't ignore it.
So in the end, we're left with three really distinct theories. The police officially concluded it was suicide. His family believes the sheer weight of that final case just became too heavy for him to carry. But his wife, her account points to something else entirely, that a negative entity he'd been fighting had finally pushed him over the edge. And that's really the question we're left with, isn't it? Was his death the tragic result of a man battling depression, whose incredible empathy for others just let him take on far too much? Or, after 6,000 encounters with the other side, did he finally open a door to an evil so powerful that not even he could close it? The answer, it seems, remains a complete mystery.